Hi there, my name is April Sawtell and welcome to my channel. Today what we're going to be doing is quilt block number 2 out of the Quilt Block for Beginners series, if you have been following that. So what we're going to do today is a very basic 4-patch. So what you need is some squares. If you don't know how to cut squares, if you go back and watch a tutorial I did on how to cut patchwork squares or how to cut your fabric, this will explain how to do that. So this is what the 4-patch will look like when we're done. What we're going to do is we're just going to sew 2 together, and then we'll sew these 2 together. I'm going to stick a pin in here, and what we're going to do after this is we're just going to sew down 1/4 inch. Now remember, when you're doing patchwork, you're going to always want your contrast in fabric. So we've got a dark fabric and we've got a light fabric. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew down 1/4 inch on both sides. Okay, I'll see you at the sewing machine. So I'm over here at my sewing machine. I'm on my Janome 6700P. I'm going to just show you how we're going to do this. So we're going to take our block, our square, we're going to come down 1/4 inch all the way down, and then we're going to chain piece. Okay? So I've got the tape here to give me as a guide. That's for my 1/4 inch guide. I've got a few layers here. There's probably like 4 layers of painter's tape, and that will just hold my fabric in place. So I'm going to chain piece this. Now I have a pin in here. It's not in my way, but I don't like to run over my pins. Some people don't mind, but it's just not something that I do. But I'm just going to butt this right up here to this one, and I'm going to keep on going. 1/4 inch. And that's just button right up to my 1/4 inch mark right there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'll just cut this off. I have a little thread cutter right here in the back. Most machines have them somewhere on their machine. And I can take the pin out. And okay, so now we're back at the cutting table, and all we're going to do is we're going to open these up. We're going to press them. We're going to set the seam. I'm going to pick up the red side, the dark side here. Give it a nice little press. Setting that seam. I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to gently push that fabric, press that fabric open. Now that's giving me a nice seam back there. It's going to be laying that way. Now by doing it the same way over here, we pick up the dark side, set the seam, open it up, and you always just push toward the dark side. That way your fabric's not showing through on the light side. Now it probably wouldn't show through on this, and if it does happen, don't worry about it. It's okay. Don't ever pull any stitches out. It's not a big deal. Nobody will ever notice this. What we're going to do now, so we've got these nice two squares. We're going to flip this over, and we're going to set this on top. We're going to nest this. So see these 2 red fabrics? We want them to butt right up to each other. Okay? And you're going to feel that inside. You're going to feel that with your fingers, that we've got a seam going this way, we've got a seam going that way. That's called nesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to feel that it's nice and tight, and we're going to take a pin and we're going to go right into that seam. So you're going to push the pin down. There's the pin. And then you're going to push the pin back up into that same seam. So when we open this up, you'll see that it's going to be, the points will all be matching. They'll be butt right up to each other. We want a nice, sharp, crisp point. Now, if you don't get them, don't worry. This comes with practice. You have to practice this. But this block, I figured we'd do right off, get it right out of the way. It's an easy block. It takes a little maneuvering to get those points together, but once you get that, it will be great. And you will use this block for many, many things. 9 patches, I mean, it's going to be the same sort of method. And we'll do that with different, through the series. So, but for right now, you just want to be sure you've got those points nested, okay? And all we're gonna do now, we're gonna go back to the sewing machine and we are going to sew 1/4 inch down, all the way down. All right, I'll see you at the sewing machine. Get that one little stitch into that fabric back there. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna ride this seam on the edge of our foot. Also, I have this guide here that I've made with the Scotch tape, the painter's tape. We're just going to follow the fabric, follow the edge of the foot all the way down. Now I'm coming to the seam. I'm going to pull my pin out. I don't want to run over that. And I'm just going to take it right over that seam. My foot's just going to guide right there on the edge. Okay. Okay, I'm going to cut it and I will see you back at the cutting table. We're back at the cutting table, and when we open up our fabric, what we're looking for is we're looking for some nice points. These are just pointing right at each other here. That's perfect. What I'm going to do, I'm going to press this. I'm just going to set that seam on that side, and I'm just going to open this up. Give it a nice, just gliding right over. That's going to make it lay nice and flat. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the back of the fabric. Now back here at this intersection, I'm just going to push these up. So it's just like a little push and a twist. It's going to look like a little 4 patch in there. Now you don't have to do this, especially for beginners. It takes practice, and sometimes you can get it and sometimes you can't, you just can't seem to get it opened because you're just tearing it a little bit. I'm just going to give it a little press right in that little center. Okay, so now if you look at our 4 patch, it's perfect. What we're going to do is I'm going to square up. I'm just kidding. It's not perfect. And don't ever worry about perfection. It is wonderful just the way you do it. There's no, really, you've got to not be too hard on yourself, and you've got to just kind of, when you get to it, when you know you've made a mistake, you just keep on going. It's not going to matter. Nobody is going to notice it. Only you are, and only people are going to notice it if you point it out. Don't point it out. And it's fine. A finished quilt is the way you want to be. Don't spend too much time. Don't overthink things. So what we're going to do, we want to line this up. We want to trim this down. So I started with 6.5 inch blocks. Now I have lost 1/4 inch on each seam. So I've lost 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch here, here, and here. Okay, now if I were to make a quilt, I'm going to keep attaching and I'm going to lose 1/4 inch. So just because we've only got one seam here, down the middle and here, I've only lost 1/4 inch this way, 1/4 inch that way. Now I'm going to cut my block down. Okay, so now what we've got is, we've gone around all sides. Well, we're almost around all sides. We've got the 6 inch mark here and the 6 inch mark here down that seam. I've got the 1/2 inch mark. I'm not using that. I'm only at I'm a 1/2 inch in on all sides. So now what I'm gonna do, I just need to trim up one more side and we'll have our nice squared up 4-patch. Okay, very nice. Okay, here's our 4-patch. It's all finished. It's at 12 inches square. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like and subscribe. I will see you on the next tutorial with more quilt blocks in the Quilt Block for Beginners series. And again, this was number 2, so stay tuned for number 3. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time, and remember to just keep it simple. Have a good day. Bye.